How are you?
I'm having some boy problems. I like this one boy, and my parents don't like him, and my dad really wants me to date this other guy, and I don't know what to do.
Oh, that sounds a lot like Hermia from A Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare that I'm reading in English right now.
Oh, really? Who's Shakespeare?
Oh, let me tell you about him. William Shakespeare
was born on April 23, 1564, in Stratford-upon-Avon, also known as Warwickshire, England. It is believed that Shakespeare was born on April 23rd. However, no official birth records have been found. It is fact that he was baptized on April 26, 1564. On April 23, 1564, William Shakespeare was born to his father, John, a public official in a small town in England, and his mother, Mary of Arden. Mary came from a wealthier family and was the heiress of some land in England. Shakespeare was a widely known poet, dramatist, and actor throughout England. As a young boy, Shakespeare attended the grammar school in Stratford and learned how to read, write, and speak in Latin. This school was also known as the King's New School. Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway of Stratford at the age of 18. There are church records of a preserved bond for security of a marriage license between the two lovers on November 28, 1582. At the time of the marriage, Anne was 26 years old, 8 years older than William, and quite pregnant. About 5 months after the wedding ceremony, Anne and William's first child was born. Her name was Susanna.
Together, the two companions had 3 children. After Susan was born, the couple had a set of twins named Hamnet and Judith. Unfortunately, Hamnet, the only son in Shakespeare's family, died at the age of 11. Shakespeare appears to have flown under the radar for a period of about 8 years. This period of time is known as the Lost Years or the Dark Years. His name was not mentioned, and there was no records of his life for this period of time. Shakespeare's name appeared in 1592 when a man and fellow dramatist named Robert Greene refers to the Shakespeare as an upstart crow and follows with more insulting phrases. At this time, Shakespeare was an actor and had briefly begun playwriting. Robert Greene's references clearly had little impact on Shakespeare's career as it began to grow. In 1594, William Shakespeare joined the Lord Chamberlain's Men, an acting company, and began his professional career as both an actor and playwright. This company started performing in the local theater and hotels, and plays were a hit. Eventually, the company acted in the Globe Theater. The actors only received a portion of the money, so one day, the actors in the Lord Chamberlain's Men took apart the Globe and built it back up across the river. With the new location, the actors were able to take in all of the money that was brought in by the people.
The Lord Chamberlain's Men was the most popular acting crew in all of London. The group became most successful when Shakespeare joined the company. He composed every single play that all of the actors performed. In 1603, under the rule of King James I, the Lord Chamberlain's Men changed their name to the King's Men. Under both company names, the King and Queen loved attending the plays. The arts were very important to them, and Shakespeare helped to increase their level of engagement. During 1608, Shakespeare slowed to writing only 1 play per year. Officially, he retired in 1613. Shakespeare's life ended on April 23, 1616, in Stratford-upon-Avon. He lived exactly 52 years and was buried in the Holy Trinity Church. Shakespeare died, leaving behind 38 plays, although 2 of them are lost, 154 sonnets.
Oh my, enough about William Shakespeare. Let's hear about Hermia and the other main characters.
Yeah, sorry about that. Here we go. Hermia and the other characters from Midsummer Night's Dream.
To begin, A Midsummer Night's Dream was composed between 1595 and 1596. This play is considered a comedy because in the end, no one dies. A Midsummer Night's Dream was one of Shakespeare's greatest hits and focuses on the hardships of love. There are 4 main characters in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. I will first begin with Hermia. Hermia, the daughter of Aegeus, is known to get herself into a lot of trouble. Her character is young, foolish, and rarely listens to her father. Hermia is supposed to marry Demetrius, but has fallen in love with Lysander. Since she is true to her love and realizes that most men break their promises, she is willing to take a chance and run away with Lysander. Aegeus, Hermia's father, clearly states that she has no choice in this matter. He insists she cannot marry Lysander and has to marry Demetrius. When Hermia fights for her love, it causes problems. According to Athenian law, the standard punishment for going against the word of one's father can be as harsh as death. But no matter the circumstances or consequences, Hermia constantly stands up for herself.
Next, there is Lysander. Lysander is Hermia's love. Lysander and Demetrius have many similarities, yet Aegeus does not approve of Lysander. Unwilling to let Hermia marry anyone else, Lysander plans to escape and bring her to his widowed aunt's house. During the night in the forest, Lysander is accidentally given a love juice. This causes him to briefly fall in love with Helena. As the spell is reversed, Lysander and Hermia fall back in love and eventually get married at the end of the play. Demetrius is Aegeus's choice of husband for Hermia. He once loved Helena but claims to love Hermia now. As vile as it sounds, it really appears that Demetrius is devoting himself to Hermia to please Aegeus and Duke Theseus. To escape Helena, he deserts her before the play even begins and threatens to harm her if she does not leave him alone. Insensitive and abusive, Demetrius is a character that represents how cruel fake love can be. Similar to Lysander, Demetrius is affected by a magic love juice. The permanent effects cause Demetrius to fall in love with Helena again, and they get married at the end of the play.
Helena is Hermia's best friend. Helena has a tendency to love people who do not love her back. This puts her in a depressed state of mind. Therefore, she tends to self-pity herself. Helena struggles to find joy in life. In fact, when the men in the play do end up falling for her, she does not believe in their actions. She is too uptight and has a hard time finding happiness in her life.
The play begins with Aegeus arriving at Theseus's palace with a plan that Hermia is going to marry Demetrius, but Lysander has somehow stolen Hermia's heart. Since Hermia refuses to follow her father's orders, Theseus tells her she can either accept the death penalty or live as a nun and be a virgin forever. With 4 days to contemplate her decision, Hermia detests the idea of giving up her virginity to someone she does not love. Hermia and Lysander make a plan to run away from the Athenian law and meet in the nearby woods. Once the two lovers appear together in the woods, Helena enters with tears rolling down her face because she wants to marry Demetrius. Hermia and Lysander assure her that everything is going to be okay, for they are going to elope and Demetrius will be single. Helena decides to trick Demetrius the next day, and he ends up following the 3 others into the woods. That next night, Hermia and Lysander escape into the woods and fall asleep. One of the fairies, Robin, in the woods, mistakes Lysander for Demetrius and pours flower juice into his eyes. Helena and Demetrius follow into the woods, fighting, when Helena trips over Lysander. Lysander wakes up, and the first person he sees is Helena. The fairy's love potion causes Lysander to fall in love with her. At this point, Lysander loves Helena. Helena loves Demetrius. Demetrius loves Hermia, and Hermia loves Lysander. The love triangle spirals out of control, and fights begin to break out amongst the crew. In the meantime, there are people getting ready to practice their performance for the play for the wedding of the Athenian Duke Theseus. Similar to the storyline of Romeo and Juliet, the Athenian craftsmen perform a tragic tale of 2 young lovers. While practicing in the woods, Robin, the magical fairy, watches nearby. She decides to place a donkey head on the head of Bottom. Bottom is one of the main actors in the play, so when the other actors see the transformation, they immediately run away. Bottom wanders the woods and comes across Titania with the flower's juice in her eyes. Titania falls in love with a man with a donkey head.
Oh, there's the bell. I better get to class. You have to finish your story later. For sure. Have a good day. You too.
Oh me, you juggler, you caker blossom, you thief of love.
What have you come by night and stolen my love's heart from him? By my faith, have you no modesty, no maiden shame, no touch of bashfulness? What will you tear impatient answers from my gentle tongue? By you, you counterfeit, you puppet, you.
Puppet, why so? That way goes the game. Now I perceive that she hath made compare between our statures. She hath urged her height, and with her personage, her tall personage.
Her height forsooth, she hath prevailed with him.
And are you grown so high in his esteem? Because I am so dwarfish and so low. How low am I, thou painted maypole? Speak! How low am I? I am not yet so low, but that my nails can reach unto thine eyes.
I pray you, though you mock me, gentlemen, let her not hurt me. I was never cursed. I have no gift at all in truishness. I am a right maid for my cowardice. Let her not strike me. You perhaps may think, because she is something lower than myself, that I can match her. Lower hark again. Good Hermia, do not be so bitter with me. I did evermore love you, Hermia. Did ever keep your counsels, never wronged you? Say that, in love unto Demetrius. I told him of your sheath unto this wood. He followed you, and I followed him. But he hath chid me hence, and threatened me too. He strike me, spurn me, nay, he kill me too. Now you will let me quiet go. To Athens will I bear my folly, and follow you no further. Let me go, you see how simple and how fond I am.
Why, get you gone. Who it's that hinders you?
A foolish heart that I leave here behind.
What, with Lysander?
With Demetrius.
Bria, wake up. Come on, wake up. Sit up. What happened?
I don't know, you fell when you got up.
I had a dream that I was Hermia from A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Oh my gosh, no way, we gotta get to class.
Okay, well, I didn't get to finish the story. You need to tell me the ending.
Okay, let's walk and talk.
Play continues on, and Lysander and Demetrius re-enter the scene. Lysander and Demetrius tell Helena that Hermia would never hurt her. Helena says that Hermia may be littler than she is, but Hermia can still fight. This upsets Hermia, and the quarreling continues on. Hermia is directed to get lost, so she ends up exiting the scene. The two men talk about their love for Helena and quarrel over who will win the beloved Helena over. In the meantime, King Oberon realizes that this big mess is causing too much fighting. King Oberon and Robin, one of the fairies, formulate a plan to fix this big catastrophe. The two magical characters decide to have Lysander and Demetrius fight until they can no longer be in one another's presence. By the time the two young men separate, night will have fallen, and Robin will go sprinkle flower's juice into Lysander's eyes. This juice will undo the love potion and clear Lysander's eyes. When he wakes up, he will be madly in love with Hermia. She will also sprinkle it into Demetrius's eyes, so when he wakes up, he will have fallen for Helena. Robin has to act quickly because dawn is approaching. Robin speaks to Lysander in Demetrius's voice, taunting him and calling Lysander farther into the woods. Soon enough, Lysander is hit with a wave of exhaustion and decides to lie down and sleep. Then, Robin does the same thing to Demetrius, but this time talking in Lysander's voice. So far, Robin's plan is working. The two men are fast asleep very far away from each other. Soon enough, all four of the main characters are sleeping, and Robin inserts the flower's juice into Lysander and Demetrius's eyes. While this happens, King Oberon is in the forest and realizes that he needs to make things right for Titania. She fell in love with Bottom, a man with a donkey's head, after being put under the spell of Oberon's love potion. King Oberon sprinkles the flower's dust into her eyes, and she wakes up thinking everything was a dream. Robin removes the head of a donkey off of Bottom's head, and Titania is transformed back to her normal self. Theseus, Aegeus, and Hippolyta are hunting early in the morning and come across the four lovers sleeping in the woods. The hunting horns are blasted, and the four characters wake up immediately. Lysander begins by apologizing and telling Theseus, Aegeus, and Hippolyta how they ended up in the forest. He described how he and Hermia tried to run away together. However, Demetrius and Helena followed close behind. Demetrius confesses his new love for Helena. Theseus demands that the two couples be married alongside him and Hippolyta later that day at the temple. Bottom wakes up confused by the so-called dream that he had just had. He wanders the woods for a little while and eventually stumbles upon his castmates. The cast members are overjoyed to see him, and they end up leaving the woods and performing the play for the lovers. This play ends with the marriage of the three couples and the play performed by the Athenian actors. All of the couples were pleased and are now madly in love, and everyone lived happily ever after.
What did you think of the play?
I think the love triangle was kind of confusing to follow throughout the play.
Yeah, me too.
Although everyone lives happily ever after in the end, I feel like Hermia and Lysander are the only characters truly in love. Another confusing aspect of the play was when Shakespeare involved a play inside another play. While Hermia, Helena, Demetrius, and Lysander are doing their thing, there's other characters that are getting ready for their own performance. And my favorite character was Hermia because she always followed her heart and didn't let anyone plan her own destiny. And Daniel Billings from North Carolina is a professional play critic who wrote that with proper acting, the play could be marvelous. He also said that Shakespeare did a 10 out of 10 job on the unbreakable bonds between most of the characters.
Yeah, I'm not really all that into magic, but I really liked how Shakespeare incorporated the love potion. I was kind of confused by the double plot line. I felt like it could have been two separate plays. The theme of transformation and love really sticks out in my mind. King Oberon uses flowers juice to transform the human brain, and this transformation alters the love of the main characters. Also, Theseus and Aegeus transform their views on the marriage between Lysander and Hermia. Love is difficult definitely sticks out as a main theme to me. Hermia constantly fights to be with Lysander, and Helena has never met someone who loves her until the love potion is placed into Demetrius's eyes. I love how in the end all of the couples work out and that Theseus accepts the love of the four young teens. Matthew Ignafo, a professional play and movie critic, describes the settings of this play as full of rich and magical lighting. He feels that the plot sparkles and that it creates a hypnotic or dreamlike stage for all of the readers or audiences.
Overall, I'd say great play.
Yes, great play.